there's just a lot more people that don't know him and don't have a relationship with him. But as far as the people that do know him and do have a relationship, he's very prevalent in our lives, and he's the center of everything. Like, that we would be nothing without him.
Yeah, and I think that just ties into our clothing brand, God is Love, right? Because it's like, we look for love in family, we look for love in friends, we look for love in substances and in places. Learn how to take, correction and wisdom, but never let your voice be suppressed. Build up yourself. Like, so it's like, that's really what this entrepreneur journey is. Like, we trying to build up financial freedom.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Empower 716. I'm your host, Rob Lowry. This is a podcast dedicated to business owners and entrepreneurs in Western New York. Listen, you want to make sure you lock into this next episode where we talk about faith and fashion. We have co-owners Damon and Anayah Gross from God is Love movement, and they're here to talk about fashion and faith and how they marry the two. And so I want you to make sure you listen in and lock in.
I say our journey is very different. But we got to this point where I'm 22 years old, student at Villa Maria College. Shout
out to Villa. Villa's
I love Villa.
College.
It's a great college. I'm studying music industry there. I'm a music artist myself. I'm also the founder of A Flight to Greatness and things like that. But this is my wife, and we just we've been through a lot. We were together for about 1.5 years before we tied the knot and things like that. But the reason why, a lot of people ask why you get so married that young. We know what we wanted in life, and we decided, why we're gonna wait until we're 30, 40 years old to start building something that we focus and we know where we want to go. So we said we might as well start building together. So yeah.
One of the things that we do is being a co-owner of God is Love the movement, and then I also am the founder of Intimacy Through Christ. It's a sisterhood. And also I do like a little bit of modest fashion content on the side. So that's a little bit about me. And as far as how me and Damon got together, we met through social media. At first we were friends. So we started dating maybe like literally 2 months in. And we were just on the same mind. We had the same mindset with a lot of different things. Like our goals, our aspirations, what we believed in was really the first thing that pulled us in. Like we was on our woke type of stuff at that time. So it was just like we was big on government and just all type of crazy stuff. So we was just like, all right, like you understand me, I understand you. Like he was like the boy version of me. So it was just, we had a great relationship. As far as us getting married so soon, I feel like he said, we were very confident in what we wanted to do and how soon we wanted to get it done. So it's like, all right, we got this idea, we got this vision, why wait? So it was just confidence. Like we know what we need to do. We have an assignment together and let's go ahead and get started. Our mindsets were very similar. Like he had an aspiration to go start his music career and to be a multi-business owner. I had the aspiration to be a multi-business owner. I wanted to do public speaking. So it's like our dreams and aspirations, they aligned. So whenever we had met, I had the God is Love the movement brand together with, well, not together, I had it with myself. And then whenever we got together, he was like, I want to join. Like, I see a vision and I want us to come together and do it. At first, I was like, no, like, this is my thing.
This is your
like,
thing, right?
I already had a set vision on me being a woman, being a leader, just the owner of this brand. So whenever he came and said that, I was like, just a little hesitant. But as time went by, like, I was like, okay, he would be a great addition. Like, he has different aspects that I don't have that he could pour into the business. So we just had the same mindset, honestly. So whenever we came together, it made it a lot easier for us. Of course, like balancing marriage and business can be tricky. Like we definitely are still trying to find that balance within scheduling. Like one day throughout the month, we don't do anything. It's just we're married couple, we go on a date or something like that. So I think it helps that we have the same mindset, but it definitely, we have to have like a schedule and balance in place to make sure we still realize like you're my husband, not just my business partner.
And like even when I came to her with the idea about like joining her, I had a clothing brand prior in the past, so I like already had a lot of different experience with working with overseas vendors and the logistics and the legalities of owning your own business and stuff like that. So, I definitely, brought some stuff to the table for sure.
Okay. What inspired you to kind of go down that direction of entrepreneur?
So I had my own clothing brand in high school since probably the age of 16. It was called Juice with a G, Juice Clothing Brand. And it was very successful. So it's like, I was able to see, okay, you can be financially free. You can be, create. You don't have to work a 9 to 5 and slave yourself for the rest of your life. And I was like, okay, there's a way to do that. So I think I'm going to go after that. So it's like, I tried it. You obviously have, you bump your head. You got your highs, your lows of entrepreneurship. But I'm like, I fell in love with it, like really fell in love with it. So I'm like, this is what I'm doing for sure.
A lot of it came from the inspiration of my dad. He has a restaurant in Atlanta right now. It's called Doug's NC Barbecue. And I just always grew up watching him hustle. Like we had a pecan tree in our backyard. He would sell pecans and sell all type of, like anything he could sell, he was going to sell it. So I just watched him do that. I helped him with that sometimes. And I was just very inspired by him saying like, okay, I want to build something for myself, for my family, and I want to be the leader of that.
So God is Love, the movement. Tell me the vision behind this.
Well, I would say one of the biggest things behind it is community, like just really bringing the people together, because I feel like love is something that we really lack in today's world. So I really just want to shine a light on the importance of love, of community, of just spreading positivity. Like it's like hurt people, and I feel like that's a majority of what's going on right now. So I really just, and that not only just focuses on community, but your individual time with yourself. Like you have to be content with yourself and go out and say like, I'm gonna have a good day today, and you shine that light, you shine that positivity because you yourself are content. So I would say the community is like the superficial part, but it really gets deeper into like your personal relationship with God, making sure you're in love with yourself and you have a relationship with God and you know that God loves you and you love him. And that's just what is just poured out into the world, like an overflow effect type of thing.
I love it.
Really bringing substance to the fashion industry, because we live in a today's society where you got people walking around with trash bins on their head talking about this fashion. And I'm like, I never was that type of people. Like if I want to do something, I want to be intentional with what I'm doing. Yeah. I want to push a message and make an impact on the world. So I'm like, okay, there's a way you can do that in fashion. There's a way you can do that in music by your gifts and your talents. So really just bringing that substance through that creativity to the fashion industry.
What's the end game? Like who's your demographic? Who are you trying to target with this movement?
I would say everybody, but I definitely would say to just a younger crowd. A lot of them are lost. They're hurting, suicidal. Like suicide is a big thing right now, and it hurts my heart to see how often it happens and how often people are just smiling and really on inside, like just wanting to die. So I would just say definitely to that crowd, the younger crowd, suicidal crowd, anyone that just is lost, to be honest. And of course to the people that do know themselves, or they do have a relationship with God, and those are the people that we want to spread. Like you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom, so go out and share it. Don't just keep it to yourself. So that's why it's a very general crowd, but also targeted to the lost people as well.
I would just say, because me personally, so I used to deal with a lot of mental illnesses and things like that. So, but now being on the opposite end of that, coming through that, like I said, growing up on the east side of Buffalo, like I dealt with PTSD, like that's normal. You hearing gunshots every night and stuff like that. Yeah. So like, then I fell into that stuff. So it's like now I want to be able to impact the young black men, that I see that look just like me, like you don't have to be like that. There's so much more in this world out there for you. So I think really, I would say for me, my personal demographic is definitely young black men for sure. What
sets you apart that from different brands that you feel?
I would say biggest thing is quality. Like we post our testimonies on our social medias of how everybody's saying this is the best quality at this such good of a price. Like the hoodies are only $50. People are telling us I pay $120 for a hoodie that feels like this, right? So it's like I definitely know when it comes to businesses, like that quality and that price, that gap between that has to meet somewhere, for you to stand apart. So I'll definitely say quality in the price of our stuff for sure.
I would also say substance.
Okay.
For me, I'm just big on substance. Like, what are you bringing to the table? Like, what's the impact? Like, you just doing this for the money, or are you really trying to save people or help people. Right. So I would say the substance of our message really is going to set us apart on the long run. Like, we really want to have timeless pieces as far as like the type of designs that we have, and like God will never go out of style. Like he's timeless. So I would say that timelessness and just the substance behind our idea. There's just a lot more people that don't know him and don't have a relationship with him. But as far as the people that do know him and do have a relationship, he's very prevalent in our lives, and he's the center of everything. Like, that we would be nothing without him. But the message is just to show, like, as much as I need him, we all need him. Like, we all have a void in our hearts that just has a desire for God. And it's like those people that are lost, that are just unfulfilled, like, that's what you're missing. And I want people to know, like, it's not just like, oh, you just need to know him and things. It's like, no, you really were designed to know him. Like, there's a void there that won't get filled until you do that.
Yeah, and I think that just ties into our clothing brand, God is Love, right? Because it's like, we look for love in family, we look for love in friends, we look for love in substances and in places, but regardless, it's like, that'll never fill that void, you know? So it's like, we go through stuff as children, we come up, and then now a lot of us are hurt, we're acting out, and we're doing these things. But then it's like, I'm really trying to show the people, like, because this man that you're seeing right here, I used to be a whole different person. Like, I'm very transparent about my testimony on social media. Like, I was into drugs, I was into gangs, I was into all that different type of stuff. I was suicidal, I was all those different things, you know, until I met this God that I'm speaking of. So it's like, when we say God is love, it's like, it's deeper than just, you know, a message. But like my wife said, no, we all do need him. So I definitely think he's very, you know, here for sure. On this journey comes with transparency. Yeah. But you got to really free yourself from all those different opinions. Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm not perfect, bro. Like, learn how to take, you know, correction and wisdom, but never let your voice be suppressed. I just want to tell all the young people, like, forever be vocal. Like, you know, get that wisdom, get that counsel, but never silence your voice, because, for sure. So I have a event called A Flight to Greatness. It's my first year doing it. I got the idea actually at a church service. The pastor was preaching. He talks about how when you're getting on a plane, first you got to mentally prepare for that flight. You got to make the decision, the conscious decision to purchase your ticket. You got to go through TSA. You may have to leave some things behind. I'm like, that sounds like life. That sounds like this entrepreneur journey that I've been starting. So I'm like, I should make an event inspired off of that. So that's exactly what I did. So now I'm seeing the manifestation of the idea that I have, right? So now I'm having an event. It's going to be an annual event this year. It's going to be on February 28th. It's called A Flight to Greatness. We're going to have just, I think it's 5 to 6 different panelists. They're going to get on stage, and then we're just going to dialogue. We have like 4 different parts, and they're going to talk about what it took to get where they're at today, the highs and the lows that they had to go through, the turbulence. You know, when you're in an airplane, you go through that turbulence, unexpected delays. You know, your flight may get delayed, so they're going to be connecting that parallel to their journey and just what they had to go through. So that's an event that I'm just looking forward to. I'm looking to inspire some people. I want people to leave that event like feeling like they can conquer the world. Like, you know, showing people, you know, who are successful entrepreneurs like Khalil Carr from Buffalo Fashion Week, Chad Williams, Crystal Wallace, Frank, like all these different entrepreneurs coming up there and telling their journey. And it's like, you're going to say, okay, I can do that. It's not so far off. It's not, you know, something I got to wait for. You know, these people are fairly young, you know, majority of them. So it's like, I just really want to inspire people. You know, I really feel like that's my purpose, is really to inspire, encourage people, you know. So it's a totally free event. I want to make that event. I wanted to make the event accessible to anyone who wanted to come. Nice. So the event is free. It's at the downtown library in the auditorium. You got to use a Clinton Street door to get in, to go right into the auditorium. But 5 p.m. is going to be free. We're going to have vendors there, music performances, networking opportunities. Like, it's really a resource for sure. I think when you go through so many years feeling chained up, feeling like you can't get your ideas out there, feeling paralyzed by fear, and you finally break out of that, you want everybody in the world to experience that. So whoever is willing, if you got an idea, you don't know where to start, like, let's build this community up and pour back into one another. Like, it's like, we could shift the whole world, starting in Buffalo, like, and you see it right now, the rising of entrepreneurship, successful entrepreneurs across Buffalo, like, so it's like we're trying to really, you know, impact that as much as possible, impact all the people who may feel chained up in their rooms, feeling paralyzed by fear, and we trying to help y'all break out too. Like, come on, let me show you what this life about. Like, you don't got to live like that. You don't got to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. If that's what you want to do, you want to get a career. Nothing wrong with that, you know. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to live this life. Like, let's do it. Like, and the good thing about this event is like they're gonna be transparent. They're gonna be talking about their highs and their lows. Some people were falsely put in jail. Some people, you know, lost everything. Like, so they're gonna be transparent. Like, but they're gonna show like where they are today. So like seeing that people have no choice but to be inspired. So I'll say that for sure.
I love it.
Yes,
and
sir.
I also wanted to add, it's like, just think about how many inventors there are, or how many artists or business owners there are in the world, and they don't even know that about themselves. Or it's fear, or it's like they have the idea, but it's that fear that's keeping them bound. So it's like, we really want to just help people break out of that, like just break out of that, those limitations, those false just worlds that you just made up in your mind, and say like, all right, I got an idea and I need to see this manifest by this deadline. Like, being just bold about whatever it is that you want to do.
For sure. I would just say, when you walking by faith, like, I want to be healed. I want to be a business owner. I want to do this. I want to, like, do it. Like, stop letting fear, stop letting just all this other stuff hold you back. But you got to really, like, you know, build up that courage, you know, and really just go after it. Obviously, it's way harder than that just seems, you know, than that sound. But it just comes with just, you know, prayer. I would say prayer. Like, just try it.
Just how we look up here, like, you don't have to look like us. Like, we just received that freedom. We received that mindset shift that God did in us. But as far as how that looks, it's going to look different for every single person. So don't just, like he said, don't feel like you got to have it all made up, or you got to know exactly what's going on and how it's going to look. It's like, just take that step. Like, literally, like, how you got to make the decision, like, how bad do you want whatever it is that you're seeking? Like, if you want it that bad, it's going to override that fear. Like, if you're trying to break out of fear, your desire has to be that much stronger than the fear for it to override it. So it's like, you got to sit and really think, like, how bad do I want this? What is it that I want? And am I willing to just make that first step? Like, you going to fall, you may slide, like, and God going to pick you right back up, and you're going to have to keep going. Like, you're going to have to keep going. Regardless of if you staying stuck or not, you still got to wake up every day. So it's like, you're going to make that choice to wake up and be in misery, or wake up and be like, you know what, I'm going to do it afraid.
You gossip so much about other people, and you're so infatuated with other people's lives that you don't never sit down with yourself and say, what do I need to do to get better? Where do I need to, you know, go through some personal development and things like that? So really just like push every other thought of everybody else and everything that everybody else has going on, and start on your own productivity. Start, you know, tending your own garden and start building your own things up. You know, become a owner. Like, that's what God wants for us all, to have our own, you know, like, you know, he wants us to have our own land. He wants us to have our own wealth. He wants us to be owners. So it's like, build up yourself. Like, so it's like, that's really what this entrepreneur journey is. Like, we trying to build up financial freedom to where we don't have to depend on a government or have to depend on a job or nothing else. Like, so it's like, you want to build yourself up more than anything, for sure.
And then when God shows you who you are, you, like you talked about, is you have to have that confidence to boldly walk into what he promised you.
Exactly.
And even that, where you think that the people who are supposed to support you, the people who are supposed to be like, yeah, you finally got it together, you're getting opposition from that side because you're not doing it the way they think you should do it. And so I admire the fact that both of you are grounded. One is, and the other part is that you're very transparent. And to me, what really, and this is just a personal thing, is that what turns me off is not being true with your story. That it's this picture perfect made story.
Right.
And you're still figuring things out.
Right.
That's why you're going to be pastor.
Yeah. Figuring things out, right? And I love that, because, you know, when someone looks at me, especially for a younger person, they're going to be like, okay, you've been at this for 20, 30 years. Of course, you're going to be where you are. You know, that's what you, but for you, both of you, you're still developing.
Right, yeah.
And you're able to speak to young people in a different way because you're in it.